Hi there! I am really excited to do this video because it's actually the video that I sort of made my YouTube channel for. So you may or may not know this, but I actually have a website, stephaniedonat.com, and I do book reviews on that website. I only do written book reviews as of right now, which works really well for me because I am far better written than I am at actually speaking. I'm just gonna have to deal with the fact that I tend to make up my own words, I say too much, and I am just not a very charismatic speaker. I'm hoping that YouTube will actually help me with that. I'm hoping that if I keep making these videos that I will eventually become a way better speaker. Really all I can do is practice. So I'm actually going to do my first video book review today. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Doomed by Chuck Palahniuk. I am a huge Chuck Palahniuk fan, and 2015 has been the year of Palahniuk for me. I am going through all of his novels, pretty much. I'm hoping to finish all of his novels by the time 2015 ends. So, Doomed is actually a sequel to Chuck Palahniuk's book, Damned. I have a written review for this book on my website, so I will leave that in a link below. I will just go ahead and do a general overview. The synopsis is that in the first book, Damned, we're following a main character who is a 13-year-old girl. Her name is Maddie Spencer. She actually dies in the first book and ends up in hell, and so the whole entire first book is about us learning about Chuck Palahniuk's version of hell and how the politics / social hierarchy works in hell, and her meeting all of these other people who have ended up in hell, why they're in hell, her making friends, and them going on these misadventures. We pick up in Doomed on Halloween of the first year that Maddie Spencer has spent as a dead person. In the spirit of traditional Halloween folklore, on Halloween, the dead get to walk among the living. In Chuck Palahniuk's version of Halloween's rules, if you do not get back to hell by the time that Halloween ends, then you are stuck haunting wherever you are until the following Halloween. So basically, they're kind of on a time crunch, and our main character gets a little sidetracked when she's actually tracked down by her parents via a psychic, sort of, to ask her more questions, because in the first book she gets in contact with them from the dead and lets them know, hey, there is something after death, and here are the guidelines for getting to heaven, which were actually the guidelines for getting to hell. What she doesn't know is up in the land of the living, her parents, being influential, famous people, actually start an entire religion based off of her and what she has told them and the guidelines she gave them to getting to heaven, which causes all kinds of chaos. She also is on an adventure of figuring out who she is, because according to Satan, she's actually just a character in his manuscript, and that he's written out everything she has done, is doing, and ever will do. And then she eventually finds out that God also claims that he had bigger plans for her than just being a 13-year-old girl. So she's also trying to figure out if she is a figment of fiction of the devil, if she is some kind of prophet from God, or if she is just her own person and both of them are taking advantage of the situation to kind of bend her in their direction. My impressions of the book, I enjoyed it. I really have enjoyed this entire series of books, but it's a really fun story to follow. It's just, like, it's kind of like a twisted John Green novel, a little bit. It's actually a really great way to phrase it. Chuck Palahniuk is a very twisted writer, and I think that another reason why I picked this book to review now is because it does follow the theme of Halloween, Damned and Doomed. It just kind of fits with the theme of Halloween, which is really great. It's so easy in a Chuck Palahniuk novel to both hate and love every single character in his books. And I actually love Maddie through and through, but the other characters in the book, you just kind of, you can't help it. You go back and forth between love and hating them because you just don't really know where their loyalties lie. We go through this storyline, this kind of background story leading up to Maddie's death, about her living with her grandparents and living through her grandparents' deaths, and what kind of involvement she may or may not have had in their deaths. And that was really fun. And the grandparents were very interesting characters, and it was really fun getting to know them. Just as a disclaimer, I would say that these books were definitely PG-13. I am a poor judge of appropriateness when it comes to entertainment, because my mom raised me giving me the sex talk every year from the age of 2. I had no regulation whatsoever on what was appropriate or was not appropriate when I was younger, so for me, inappropriate is a very vague term. So I would say that it was probably based off of content, a PG-13 book for sure. Parts of these books may fit more into the rated R category. That's my overall impression of the book. Recommendations. I recommend these books to anyone who hasn't read Chuck Palahniuk who's thinking about reading Chuck Palahniuk. You might be more familiar with his book Fight Club or the movie. I think you need to mentally prepare to read a Chuck Palahniuk novel. If you don't really know what you're getting into, then it can be a little shocking. So I think that Damned and Doomed are actually very good books to start with Chuck Palahniuk. Either those or Lullaby by Chuck Palahniuk gives you just the right amount of twisted / weird / sexual. Let me just be 100% honest, there's always something very bizarrely sexual in every single one of his books. We're going to go into the spoiler part of the review. I only have a couple of points to touch on for these books because, of course, they're the main ones. So if you've read this book and you're here for a little bit of discussion or to see somebody else's reaction, then you're in the right place. So I'm just gonna go straight there. The whole entire scene with Maddie Spencer and her grandfather in the bathroom scene. Yeah, I read that in a mall. I was sitting at a cafe table in a mall, surrounded by people, and I was not prepared for what took place. I mean, I've read so many Chuck Palahniuk novels, you'd think I would have learned by now, but I kept reading and I couldn't stop reading, and I just made faces at my book that I'm pretty sure that everyone around me was like, what in the world could she possibly be reading? And is that a graphic novel? I wanted to turn to everyone around me and be like, do you know what just happened in this book? This girl just ripped off her grandfather's penis with a book. I don't even know if that's physically possible, but my God, that must be one of the most painful ways to lose your penis. I don't think there is a not painful way to lose your penis, but I'm just saying, like, having it ripped off by a book of all things. And, you know, I picked up the book looking at the cover thinking, I'm sure I know what that is. I thought it was gonna have more to do with the ocean of semen that's actually in hell and less to do with being covered in her grandfather's cum. And in case you didn't notice, I actually did my makeup to kind of go with the book. Also, I think that maybe it's also supposed to represent the plastic. Like, you know, that whole entire thing went over my head. Maybe it's because I'm not a religious person at all, but the entire condom baby thing with it developing and growing into an actual creature / human / Maddie eventually, I didn't understand that, and maybe it's some kind of reference to some kind of religious text. I really enjoyed actually getting to know and learning a little bit more about the character Satan in this book. I thought it was really weird when the angel came in. I feel like out of all the characters, the angel is so out of place. And he's such a weird character, and I don't really like what he brought to the table, but I'm sure that it's setting us up for something very interesting in the third book. And then really all I have to say is that by the ending was so frustrating for me, and I think that anybody who read it would probably feel that way because it is such a climax. There's people dying and committing suicide by the thousands, and there's her parents and people getting shot and people dying, and her running from all these people, and there's an angel chasing her and the devil's chasing her, and blah 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 blah, and she just kind of goes, oh well, I'll figure it out, I'll deal with it later, put it on the to-do list. So the ending was a little frustrating, but I'm kind of used to that now with Chuck Palahniuk. But really, just to wrap it up, I really enjoyed the book. I really enjoy reading Chuck Palahniuk in general. I'm very excited to keep reading his series if he continues with it. But yeah, please like and subscribe if you did like my book review, if you want to see me do more book reviews, and if you have a book you would like me to read or review, please let me know in the comments what that is. I am open to reading anything and all things, and I love books, I love all genres, I love literature. So just comment it below and I'll get to it eventually. Let's talk about the books. Comment below and I am guaranteed to reply to you. I'd love to discuss it with you guys, and let's make some predictions about what we think is going to happen in the third book, and when and if it ever comes out. Otherwise, you can also contact me through my website, you can contact me through my Tumblr page and my Twitter, so definitely find me on all of my social media, and if you want to discuss books, let me know. If you want to discuss any of the other books I've reviewed in 2015, just take a look at them on my website and let me know. You can also comment on my website if you want. Until then, I will see you later.